Mozart's B minor Adagio was composed in 1788. By its composition date alone, we would normally define the work as being from the late classical period. But this isn't your typical classical work. Firstly, it's a standalone movement and a very intense piece. It's so emotionally charged that you could easily assume it was written in the Romantic era. You can get a sense of this emotional intensity and its presence just from the first two bars. If we place this next to another of Mozart's piano works, one that he just wrote 3 months later, you may recognise that as the Sonata in C major K545. In many ways, this is the more typical classical work. It has a clarity of texture, a balance between melody and accompaniment, and it requires a certain precision. Now, if we return to the Adagio, this is clearly from another place. The piece is dramatic, but at the same time, it's also weary. Part of the dramatic atmosphere is due to sudden changes in dynamics, and Mozart specifies these in much detail. There are fortes and pianos right next to each other everywhere. There are also many breaks, these short silences where the music pauses, like you've expressed something meaningful and you just have to catch your breath before speaking again. In these 3 pages of music, just 57 bars, there are 20 of these momentary breaths. The work is in the key of B minor. Of the many hundreds of pieces Mozart wrote, there are only 2 in this key. Both of these pieces are adagios, both very slow, expressive and solemn works. We know that the key was especially significant because in Mozart's own listing of works, he wrote the words B minor next to the entry for this work. It was the first time he'd made any such reference. This piece was written about a year after the death of his father, Leopold Mozart. Now, the work may be an acknowledgement of this event. Would go some way to explaining the solemnity and the expressiveness, but we can't really be sure. We do know at the time that Mozart composed the Adagio, he was in serious financial difficulty. He was writing a number of commissions and seeking publication. But this wasn't the type of piece you'd write for young ladies wanting to study the piano. A work of this nature wouldn't have been a commercial prospect. All of this seems to reinforce that this very dark and emotive piece must have represented something very special to Mozart, a composer we normally associate with a classical period of refinement, clarity and order.